And in this episode, I'm going to rank those quarterbacks 5 through 1 and tell you why I think those are the 5 best quarterbacks in this conference going into the 2024 season. Could it be Garrett Greene? Would Jalon Daniels from Kansas be the number 1 guy? Could it be Coach Prime's son and his Rolex? Or could it be somebody else? Stick around to find out right after this word from my sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. What is up? Come on in. Welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Belly yourself up to the bar. Let me pour you out this shot of top shelf college football content. If you're finding us for the first time, don't worry, you are in the right place. If you like top shelf college football analysis and news around West Virginia, the Big 12, or conference realignment, then you're in the right place because that's what I serve up here at Couz's Corner. Now, let's get on with the show. Now, the criteria I looked at in ranking these quarterbacks were obviously stats. What kind of stats did these quarterbacks put up in 2023 and in some cases 2022? And how important were these quarterbacks to their team? If they're a quarterback who's really not, if they're just a game manager and their team can win without them, then they're obviously not going to be ranked as high as a quarterback who, is absolutely needed for his team to be successful. So that played a part in this as well. And then obviously I looked at the wins that they led their teams to in previous seasons. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 5, this might be a surprise for some of you. Kansas fans are not going to like me, but I've got Jalon Daniels here. Now, I know a lot of people probably have Jalon Daniels higher in their quarterback rankings. But here's the reason I have Jalon Daniels where I do. First of all, he's had injury issues throughout his career. He's only played 12 games in 2 seasons. But the primary reason I have Jalon Daniels 5 is because I don't think Jalon Daniels was as big a factor in Kansas' success as Andy Kotelnicki's play calling was. Because last season in 2023, when Jason Bean, the backup, had to play, Kansas actually had a better season at 9-4 than they did the previous year, where they were 6-7 when Jalon was a starter. Now, look, I know there are a lot of other things to consider, but I really think Andy Kotelnicki is one of the best play callers in the country. And I think that had a lot to do with Jalon Daniels' success. Now, I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm going to obviously still have him in the top 5 in a 16-team league. So he's still a talented quarterback. And he put up great numbers. I mean, I'm going to read his numbers off to you real quick. In 2 seasons, in 12 games, he's 208 for 305 passing, which is good for 68%, 2,719 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. That's the 2022 and 23 seasons combined. And in 2022, the season he played 9 games, he carried the ball 77 times for 419 yards and 7 touchdowns. So he can also do damage with his legs, which is really important in a lot of cases, especially for Andy Kotelnicki and the way he ran that offense. So I still think Jalon Daniels has the capability of putting up big numbers, but because Kansas was able to win without him being healthy and being on the field, I put him at number 5. Now, number 4, an incoming quarterback from the Pac-12, Noah Fifita from Arizona. Noah Fifita was just a freshman in 2023, but he put up some awesome numbers. In 12 games, he was 241 of 333 passing, which is good for 72.4%. He had 8.6 yards per attempt on that 72%. That's pretty impressive. For 2,869 yards and 25 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. So he did a good job taking care of the football, even as a freshman. His quarterback rating, a whopping 165.92. The year before Noah Fifita was a starter, Arizona was 5-7. Last year, with Noah Fifita running the offense, they were 10-3. Now, the only reason I don't have Noah Fifita a little higher is because he doesn't do as much damage with his legs, and he also has an elite wide receiver in Tetaroa McMillan on the outside as well that can make plays for him. Some of these quarterbacks don't have an elite receiver on the team, at least not yet. So for that reason, I put Noah Fifita at 4, but I do think Noah Fifita has a chance potentially to be the best quarterback in the Big 12. Number 3 on my list, another newbie to the league, Cam Rising from Utah. Now, originally I had Cam Rising a little lower on the list, but when you look at Cam Rising's numbers he put up in 22, now, obviously we all know he was injured and missed most of the 23 season. Actually, he missed all the 23 season with an injury, decided to come back for his 7th season, I believe it is, in 2024. He's going to be 23, 24 years old, something like that, maybe even older than that. So he's got a lot of experience under his belt. He's going to be mature. But the numbers he put up in 22 were impressive. He played 14 games, including postseason, was 249 for 385 passing, which was good for 64.7%, 7.9 yards per attempt, 3,034 yards, 26 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions, and a 149 QB rating. And by the way, he also carried the ball 77 times for 465 yards and 6 touchdowns. I think he was 4th on the team in rushing for the Utes in 2022. But the reason I didn't put him higher than 3, the team was able to win even when he wasn't the starting quarterback. For example, in 2022, when he was a starter, they were 10-4. They did win the Pac-12. They did play in the Rose Bowl. But in 23, they didn't really take that big of a step back. I mean, they played 3 different quarterbacks in 2023, still finished 8-5. Now, they didn't get to play in the Pac-12 title game, and they didn't make the Rose Bowl. So I'm not saying Cam Rising wouldn't have made a big difference. But to me, when you look at the difference he would have made versus some of these other quarterbacks on this list, I put him at number 3. But again, he has a potential to be the best quarterback in this league by the end of the season. Number 2, and maybe I'm looking at this through golden blue glasses, but I have Garrett Greene from West Virginia at number 2 on this list. I wasn't going to put Garrett at number 2 because I didn't want to be looked at as being biased. But I'm telling you guys, when I look at all factors, when I look at obviously numbers, which I'll read out in a second, but when you look at how important Garrett Greene is to this West Virginia team, West Virginia finished 9-4 in 23. I'm not sure they make a bowl game with him if he wasn't on the field. Now, I'm not at all throwing any negativity toward Nico Marchiol, our backup. I just don't think Nico was ready yet to lead a team where Garrett was 2 years older than Nico. I'm just not sure Nico was there yet. The 2 games Nico had to play, West Virginia ran the ball a lot. I mean, a lot. I just don't know that he would have been ready to be the guy yet, but Garrett was. And Garrett is so important to this team. And then when you look at his numbers, his passing numbers may not blow you away. His passing numbers, he was in 12 games, and I'll be honest, 12 games is actually deceiving because he only played 1 series in the Pitt game before going down with an injury. So we'll say 11 games. He was 147 for 277, 53.1%. I know that doesn't blow you away. However, his yards per attempt was 8.7. He had the most yards per attempt, or the second most yards per attempt, rather, of anybody on this list. He also threw for 2,406 yards, 16 touchdowns to only 4 picks, so he did a really good job protecting the football. Had a 142.2 QB rating, which won't blow you away. But when you look at what Garrett Greene did with his legs, that's what's impressive. He ran the ball 120 times for 772 yards and 13 touchdowns. 13 rushing touchdowns. Top 10 all time in a season for college quarterbacks. That's phenomenal. He had a total of 29 touchdowns between the air and on the ground. You tell me that's not a guy who's important to his football team. And by the way, the year before when he wasn't quarterback, they were 5-7. They were 9-4 in 2023. So that's why I have Garrett Greene at number 2 on this list. If you think I'm looking at it through golden blue glasses and have Garrett Greene way too high, let me know in the comments section. Number 1 on the list, and I know a lot of you out there who are not going to like my pick here, but it's Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. A lot of you anti-Colorado folks and a lot of you anti-Shedeur Sanders folks are not going to like this. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Shedeur Sanders and some of his off-the-field antics and some of the things he does. I'm not, flashing the Rolex. Wasn't happy about that. I don't like all the, the trash talk before games and things like that. I don't like him bringing attention to himself, doing fashion shows and all that instead of going to team meetings. I don't like any of that. I don't think it's good. But at the end of the day, you cannot argue with this young man's talent, his ability, and the numbers he put up at Colorado in 2023. After coming from an HBCU where he faced, a much lower level of competition, Shedeur Sanders put up these numbers in 2022. I'm sorry, 2023. He was 298 completions out of 430 attempts, which was 69.3%. So he threw the ball 430 times. Still completed almost 70% of his passes. 7.5 yards per attempt, a little lower than most of these guys. But again, the more passes you throw, the more that number is probably going to come down. Threw for 3,230 yards, 27 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. And when you consider the fact that he was sacked over 50 times and was still only threw 3 interceptions, that's impressive. And his QB rating was also good at 151.72. So regardless of what you want to say about Shedeur Sanders, I cannot do anything but give this young man his flowers, rank him number 1 among all Big 12 quarterbacks going into the 2024 college football season. Now, if you want to see number 6 through 16, I will pop that up on the screen for you right now. Number 6, I have the Arkansas transfer, KJ Jefferson, who's now at UCF. At number 7, I have Rocco Beck from Iowa State. Number 8, Baron Morton at Texas Tech. Number 9, Donovan Smith, Houston. Number 10, Josh Hoover from TCU. Number 11, Avery Johnson, Kansas State. Number 12, Brennan Sorsby, the Indiana transfer, who's now at Cincinnati. Number 13, Alan Bowman, Oklahoma State. He threw too many interceptions for my liking. That's why I have him down on the list. Number 14, Sawyer Robertson, or whoever ends up playing quarterback at Baylor. Number 15, Gary Bohannon, who used to be at Baylor, then transferred to USF, now is at BYU. And heck, I don't even know if he'll start, but whoever the quarterback at BYU is, I have him at 15. And then Jaden Rashada, number 16 at Arizona State. Now, before you Arizona State fans crucify me in the comments, I don't think Jaden Rashada is the least talented quarterback in the conference, but because he has a very small sample size of only 3 games, I just didn't feel comfortable putting him any higher on the list. That's all. He has an opportunity. He may have the highest ceiling of anybody in the conference, to be honest. But because he hasn't played enough and he's only a freshman, I have him at 16 until he's able to put in a larger body of work. So as of right now, that's my quarterback rankings for the Big 12 going into the 2024 season. And remember, I'm doing this here in February, so a lot can change between now and the fall. But I want you to let me know in the comment section, who was your top 5 quarterbacks in the Big 12 going into 2024, and where did I get my list wrong? I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. And hey, if you want to tell me where I got it right, I can accept that too. If you like this video, please give me the thumbs up button. If you didn't, give me the thumbs down button. Please share it with your family and friends. I want to give a shout out to my VIP channel members of the day: Outlaw of College Football, Luke Bart, Big Dan T, and Cody Cutright. If you want to join this list, all you have to do is hit the join button below, or if you don't see a join button, go into my description box, hit the link to take you into my channel page and join there. There are 2 levels. There are perks to go with each level. You can see the perks there. It's an easy way to support what I do here on the show if you don't want to leave a super chat. Also, I want to give a shout out to someone who leaves me a lot of super chats, a lot of super thankses, a lot of large donations over my time here doing YouTube, and it's something I don't do enough. But I want to give a shout out to Timbo, who also used to be a channel member here, but he's also given me a lot of large donations. I'm going to give a shout out for being a super donor here at Couz's Corner. Thank you, Timbo, for all your support, my man. If you want to watch another video related to Big 12 football, check this one out right here. Have a top shelf day and Q Country Roads.